to the crowd.
Not very much. Not to get me. Like one in the millennia.
You might have to. I'm in budget season right now, so nothing but numbers going through here. I don't think it's right now. No, I don't think it's right now. This is going to be oh, you do. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Hi, Wendy. Christy Klein. I'm good. How are you doing?
I do enjoy a lot of program. Careful research. There he is, right in the
I was thinking about it. I'm trying to break it because I don't want to be really? You want to do that on my bucket list? It's right here. Yeah. When our kids totally abandoned.
Yeah, or,
Everybody trying to fit one over. I think you could. Started over here, then I lost. I know I'm probably going to come up.
Well, good evening and welcome to a fireside chat with Dr. Kimberly Dinh, National Mid-Amateaur Champion 2023. Thanks for joining us. Getting a little bit of feedback there, and I think that's being adjusted. Thank you to the Midland Country Club and Todd Beals and the team for putting this on to celebrate your victory and really all your accomplishments, Kim. And we also have Midland High School golfers and Northwood University golfers. Thanks for joining us tonight. And we also have the president of GAM, the Golf Association of Michigan, Jay Haltz. We appreciate your support. I'm Dr. Kristen Stayhauer, immediate past president of Midland Country Club, and a fan of yours, Kim. And I'm happy to say that I can call you a friend as well. And you've been an inspiration to me as a golfer and as a person and a professional.
Kristen, appreciate it.
So let's just get right at it. Please take us to the 12th tee at the North Course of Stonewall Country Club in Pennsylvania. And what was going on?
So I was, 3 down at that point with 7 to go. So not in a ideal spot to win a U.S. Mid-Am. But it's a short par 4, a lot of slope in the greens, and neither of us hit a great shot. The pin was gettable. We both kind of missed it, so left ourselves harder putts than we should have. But lagged it there to 4 feet, and Kelsey caught a rig and ended up way away, rushed a putt, rushed a couple putts, and ended up with a 6. So she just continued my putt. So yeah, finally got one back on her, and kind of felt like I had a little bit of momentum, and it kind of continued from there. Let's see, 113, she re-putted again. Kelsey was putting great beforehand, made every 6, 7 quarters we looked at, but stats say you're not going to make every one of those. So figured stay patient, just try and keep at it, and figure if she makes all of them, then it's her day. If she's not, then have a chance here, and I just have to find a way. So then from there, made birdie on 14, so now we're even with 4 to play. So things have flipped really quick in match play. Just trying to keep the pedal to the metal.
And so what happened on the final stretch?
Yeah, so I lost 15 because I missed a short one. So I was kicking myself for that, but had 3 more holes left. On 16, we both had ended up in some rough that was pretty thick, so didn't really have a chance to actually hit the green. And so then both of us left ourselves with like these little 40-yard pitch shots that gives everyone nightmares at times off of some kind of highs, and hit a really good one there to like 8 feet. Kelsey did lay the sod over it, and then couldn't get up and down from there, so was able to win that to tie it up back up. And then so that was nice. After felt like I made a mistake. I got it back on 16. 17 got up there, hit a great 5-wood. So par 3, a little downhill. So good 5-wood and hit it to 15 feet, just right on the pin.
Did you feel pretty comfortable then?
Yeah. Hit a great shot. That was a nice little redemption after what I had done at the GOBI. The 3rd round, hit the stands on hole 13 here. So with the same club. So
That's really nice to that day.
So that was nice to hit a good one under pressure too, a good spot. And then Kelsey put it in the bunker, got it a little cleaned, and then 3-putted, so she conceded the hole. So I'm now 1 up with 8. 1 to go, and just played steady golf, and there just hit it in 3. Adrenaline was running, got a little close to one of the hazards that I was anticipating, but it was safe. And hit a really good one shot and made a putt. Kelsey kind of made birdie at that point and was over the green and had a downhill chip. So it was a big ask. So yeah, just really just tried to plug away and stay really steady throughout everything. They told me I won like 6 out of the last 7, and you know, it happens really fast in golf. Didn't realize that until way after that.
So you and I've talked a lot about how you have that championship mentality, and how did you persevere, and how did you keep your mental game together when you were 3 down and 7 to go?
Yeah, so I wasn't thinking about that too much. I was frustrated for sure because I lost a few early. But, you know, there's a lot of holes left in golf. And, you know, you say 3 down and 7 to go, and the odds aren't in your favor. But really just hit one shot after another and tried to just play as good of golf as I could. We were both tired at that point. So we were bound to hit some loose shots at some point. So it was just trying to plug away as continuously.
Gonna make a quick adjustment so we don't get the feedback. Oh, and we have people watching via live streaming too. Welcome to you as well. That was probably kind of fun to watch. Okay, so that was so exciting, and here is the trophy too. Have you done anything fun with this?
I am not yet.
The clear jug.
I am ready to do a lot of fun things with it, but have not done a lot of things yet. One of my good friends, we put his 1-year-old in there. That was pretty entertaining, and he was dying to get in and out of it.
Wow. And it came with a whole set of instructions too.
It did, yes. There was one about it being metal, so you're not supposed to get it wet. That rule might be bent a little bit a couple times.
It may already have been bent in the past.
But besides that, a lot of it is around, you're not supposed to use it for commercial purposes, but a lot of that. But beyond that, it's like, where the white gloves when you pick it up. It's the biggest thing.
This is the white glove treatment. So you had a really amazing season this year, and it started out with a ski accident. How did you, and I remember texting with you as I learned that you broke your ankle, and you had the best attitude from really the get-go.
Yeah, no, broke my ankle skiing at the end of January, so I was in a boot and a cast for 12 weeks, so that was certainly not ideal for golf. But, you know, things happen, and committed to, like, you know, I did it, and we're going to just be happy as hard as I can, and just be ready to go, and, you know, take it one step at a time, just keep getting stronger every single day, and really hit the rehab hard.
And so what was your first round like after you
It was
came back? Were you still wearing the boot?
No.
Or no?
No.
Okay.
I was out of the boot wearing a brace. And it was one of those, AJ, so my PT, was like, just try hitting half shots, and don't hit driver, just hit a bunch of weirds, and, you know, see how it goes, and, you know, felt okay. And so part of it is just your tendons and your ligaments are just so stiff after being in a boot for so long that it just takes some time to create a lot of that mobility. So having some patience, and the biggest thing was AJ probably had to rein me in a little bit from going too hard too fast.
And so what was your first tournament after post ankle break?
So there was one event here at the club, and that was the first time I walked 18 holes, and then turned it into 36 holes, so pushed it probably a little bit quick, but, you know, the stiff the weekend after, the weekdays after, but kind of giving myself some confidence that I could walk 36 holes. And so the first tournament after that was the Michigan Mid-Am at Saginaw Country Club, and, you know, I love Saginaw, played well there every time I go out there, so didn't want to miss that, and that was a lot of fun. And it was just good to be back out again.
And congrats on that win, which qualified you to move on to the Nationals. Or you already were qualified for
I
the
was already
Nationals.
qualified, so the Michigan Mid-Am doesn't actually give you into it. You have to qualify separately, but I played well enough in 2022 that I was already accepted for this year.
That's great. So you mentioned the Great Lakes Bay Invitational, and a shout out to our friends at Outlier and also Dow. that is, you made the cut. You made it in and you made the cut. Could you take us to that? And the third round was challenging, and then you personally were on fire for the fourth round.
Yeah, it was, playing, you don't get to play a lot of home tournaments in golf. You're usually traveling. So to play something in Midland in front of all the friends, family, and all of my coworkers out here, so much fun. And to give Kyle the chance to be on the bag too, even through that third round, just a lot of fun. And so to represent Midland, the Great Lakes Bay region, just exciting. And so the fourth round was, you dream of those rounds feel so easy, where you just get into the flow, every putt is easy, every shot is easy, and you're just sticking it. And so it was one of those rounds, and it was nice, especially after the third round, where we had certainly a challenging round, where things, we really couldn't right the ship and, get some positive momentum going until a little later in the round, but still had a few mistakes. So that was nice to have, but even just making the cut was a lot of fun. And so we had it going even from the back nine to get inside the cut line the second round.
Well, you certainly inspired all of us, and loved being part of it. I know many of the people in the room were part of your gallery during the Great Lakes Bay Invitational. So let's go back to your earliest memories of golf. What's your first memory of golf, Kim?
That's probably hitting golf balls out on the par 3 course at Curry. So Dad got the bug when he was 40, since one of my uncles got him started, so he got the rest of us playing. And so he got the rest of us to play, tried it out on the par 3 course, and played out there forever for a couple of years, and that's all I wanted to do. So that's where it all started. Did the junior golf program out at Curry. Did a junior golf camp, I'm pretty sure, out there as well. So had a lot of fun on the course.
Well, and your dad was telling me before this about your very first golf lesson with your brother Chris, and somebody who's in the audience tonight.
So I can't remember that, but Dave Turner, so he's the Northwood coach, probably can attest more to what that lesson was like. So I don't remember a whole lot about that, but it had to sneak out as well.
What's the first competition you played in?
So played in the Midland Junior Golf Program here. So that was on the par 3 course again, so it was 9 or 10. Played out there, and then we had zero idea where we stood, but it was like both my younger brother and I think he beat me by a stroke or something like that. So he took first, I took second, and then after that, I think I played in a Meyer Junior Tour event soon after, so that's like the state level wide junior golf tour, and shot like 1 million. I think it was a good thing. There was a weather that came in since then. We didn't actually have to post it full 18 number. So
What's the first event you won?
I think it was probably the next year. It was something at the Cat, I think. Probably shot like 90, 95 or something like that, a 1-day event. But had a lot of fun. Had a lot of you see a lot of the same kids and a lot of the same things, so you make a lot of great friends.
What did you like about golf when you were starting out?
When I started out, probably the feeling of a shot well struck was fun. But also as, like a 10, 11-year-old, winning is also a lot of fun. So I was definitely driven by that a little bit. And over the years, especially, you recognize you don't win everything, but just that process of getting better every day has been a lot of fun.
So looking back, what advice would you give your younger self?
Keep working at it. Success isn't going to be handed to you. So you're going to have to work hard for anything you want. Set high standards for yourself. Set the goals that you want to go reach and go chase them.
That's good advice for all of us at any time. Kim, you're an amazing hometown success story, and not only have you done that in the golf arena, but you've also done it professionally. And with your parents both being chemical engineers, and you this is probably one of the only crowds in the world who would know what this is about, but her doctoral dissertation, this is the partial title, Catalytic Partial Oxidation of Methane over Copper Engaged Zeolites. Talk a little bit about catalysis.
Yeah, we can tell you that this will not be commercialized because I was working at conversions of less than 1%. So, more of an academic problem for sure, but learned a lot about how to study catalysts and how to think about science and formulate well-developed hypotheses, and then to pursue those to figure out how can we design better catalysts for more efficient reactions.
And so you work as a scientist at Dow, your hometown employer, basically.
Yes, yep, I do. So I've been there for just over 3 years now, and it's been a lot of fun, challenging problems, a lot of great scientists. So you get to work on challenging problems, think deeply about science, but have some fun and make some friends at the same time. So it's been a lot of fun.
So another place where you had some fun and made some friends was at MIT, and you got really involved with the golf club at MIT. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the club golf team there, so MIT did have a varsity program for a while, but due to budget cuts, they turned that into a club program. And so when I went to MIT, I was just looking for something, play a little bit, not trying to do anything I was doing in undergrad. And so got involved with that and just played, and then just a couple of years in, they were looking for somebody to take over that president's role. So kind of turned that on. Had a lot of fun with that. Learned a little bit about trying to, on the other sides of budgeting and some of the other things of leading an organization.
And so as a scientist, you finished your doctorate there before coming back here, but you've really done quite a bit for making science more inclusive and diverse, and also STEM outreach to young women and girls. Could you share a bit about your work in that arena, how you give back?
Yeah, so I always had a passion for it. Got involved in college through SWE, so Society of Women Engineers, did a lot of outreach when I had time, so mostly when we weren't competing, doing some outreach with like high school and middle school girls, like using programming and graphing calculators for programs, say Lego robots, which was a lot of fun as an example. But I just got involved through the years. Didn't get to do so much through grad school, but since I got back, got involved with AICHE, so the local section, so that's the Chemical Engineering Professional Organization, as well as the American Chemical Society, the local section here. And they just have a lot of opportunities for outreach, take on some leadership roles, and drive kind of some of those outreach programs, say for like Day in the Life of an Industrial Scientist, which we have coming up in January, and to bring high school students, college students together, and with professional engineers, scientists, and kind of show the diversity of what you can do with a STEM career, for example. So it's just a lot of fun. Had a lot of opportunities to just kind of explore those careers. So want to be able to give back.
And you're giving back to the game of golf in that arena as well. Could you speak to that as well?
Yeah, so since I've come back, I've had the opportunity to work with some of the high school girls here, so that's always been fun, because I found that I really fell in love with the game. I liked winning, but I fell in love with winning golf was all about, I thought, in high school. So that's just fun to do, and you can always see the vast potential that they all have, and it just needs a little bit of work and a little bit of push to reach those goals that they want to go after.
Well, and you've also made the game a bit more inclusive and diverse by basically competing in fields regardless of gender.
Yeah, so that's been fun. A lot of it started because I was just looking for competition that would be, provide me a challenge and would be fair to everybody in the field, because I don't think it would be fair for me to just play from the forward tees all the time, right? Given the depth of competition, depending on who's competing. So it's just an opportunity here to keep pushing golf forward. That, it's a game that you can play regardless of age, regardless of gender, and it doesn't really matter what teams you play or who you are. All that matters at the end of the day is the score.
Not how you get there, really. Sometimes it's a little messy on the way to even
There's
a
no
good
pictures on a
score.
scorecard, right?
That's a great thing to remember. Let's think about your college days. And you played at Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin, and you've talked about how valuable that team experience was, and you all had quite a bit of success.
Yeah, so actually it was a walk-on at Wisconsin, preferred walk-on. So I had a spot on the team, but no scholarship money. But when I got there, it was an eye-opening experience of how good you had to be to actually compete in the lineup from day to day. So redshirted my freshman year, worked my butt off, and my goal was to play in that lineup, and was able to break into it. And that's my second year. Pretty much played pretty regularly after that. But it was just, you see a little bit of success and you want more. And so just kind of kept chasing that. And you can see it pay off in your golf. You have your ups and your downs, but overall, on average, when you look back at the year, you can tell you got better. So that was really rewarding to see. And then at the same time, we had a lot of team success. We made it to regionals, qualified for regionals 3 years, got through to nationals one of those years, so played really well that year. And won one golf tournament individually, and those are hard to win, for sure. So you need to play really good golf for different goals.
So you graduated from Wisconsin with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering, and Kim was the commencement speaker at the University of Wisconsin. And in that speech, this kind of chokes me up, actually. You talked about trying something new and uncomfortable, and you said, I won't be successful on my own. And you said, we have to recognize those who carried us to this place.
Yes, yeah, so absolutely, golf, academics, whatever it is, it's a lot of support, it's a lot of, requires a team, regardless of whatever it is. So parents along the way, for sure. Golf more recently, my fiance, Kyle, were pushing at me, as well as the sport of the club here, the Fortress, and Curry as well, where I grew up playing. So it absolutely, any of the success is a team effort.
That address was very amazing, and you can Google it and watch it.
I totally forgot about that and did not realize it was still
It's still findable. I watched it again yesterday, and every time I am just so moved and inspired, and the presence you had up at the podium and the very powerful message. Thank you, Mr. Cave. Okay, so you've talked a lot about practice and preparation. Let's just talk about how you stay. You're working full-time as a research industrial scientist, and you keep your game sharp enough to compete at the highest levels.
Yeah, a lot of practice. Don't take a whole lot of days off during the summer. Definitely don't touch the cups as much during the winter. During the season, it's a little bit swing. It's a lot more short game and putting because their ball striking will kind of go through ups and downs a little bit, and it will always be there for the most part on average. So the winter is definitely the time for some changes. So it's just kind of trying to keep those as sharp as possible and getting as much out of your game as you can.
Could you run us through the routine?
It varies from day to day. I have a few putting drills that I'll always go to almost every day. A lot of it's to check setup, alignment, and path. And I have a few favorite drills I'll spend 10 to 15 minutes on every day. And then a lot of it is just, seeing the balls go in the hole and working on speed control to get it close to the hole. Because three putts annoy me, and three putts are the easiest thing to clean up in golf to drop strokes.
We should take notes on that one. How about in the off season? Because I used to be working out a lot.
Yeah, so I'm not the longest hitter. So the last few winters, a little bit more commitment to being in the gym. A lot of it, golf is a very repetitive sport, so just staying healthy and making sure your body's strong to avoid injuries, but also just to get stronger, chase a little more distance. don't, especially this year, I'm a little bit more motivated. Don't want to hit 3-wood in every green at the U.S. Open. So definitely chasing distance this year as well.
You mentioned Kyle, your coach. What do you look for in a coach?
Somebody you can click with, and it challenges you, but also somebody that will also, like I said, you can click with at the same time, challenge you, but also provide you a little bit of that push to go and have all the confidence in you that you can execute any shot. Granted, we top percentages a lot of the times too, so makes him uncomfortable sometimes.
What kind of mental preparation do you do?
I don't do a whole lot. A lot of it has been learned over time about you can't really dwell on that shot you just hit 2 holes ago or whatever, because it's not going to help you hit the next shot right now. And you kind of forget that at times, and then you relearn it. And so it's just staying really patient and really present as much as you can. And it's something that you gain with experience. You get nervous, but you kind of rely on your routine as well of things that you know, and know that you have the confidence that you can execute the shot or hit the spot or whatever it may be.
That's great. And as we wrap up this part of our conversation about your preparation and the drills you do and everything, what advice would you give our high school and college golfers on things to work on? Other than avoiding 3 putts.
Short game, of course. And I'm sure to say, like, Dave has said this, Doug has said this to all of their coach students, but it really is about the short game. To make drastic changes, I think really drop score will come with hitting the ball better, but rounds and just saving strokes, that's where the short game will come into play. And making those hit it close, hit those 5-footers, all of that. But golf is hard. Success won't be handed to you. So whatever goals you set, you got to go chase them, and you got to put the hours in. It's not going to be easy.
How many hours a week do you put in, or day?
Probably on average during the summer, it'll probably be 2 to 3 hours. A combination of playing and a little bit of short game or hitting. I don't hit a lot of golf balls anymore. Used to be a little bit more of a range fan in college.
Okay, and thank goodness it stays late in the summer to allow you that kind of time.
Yes, yeah. If it did it would have been a little harder. So definitely have that advantage in Michigan when it doesn't get dark until like 9:30.
So you can almost squeeze out until 9:45 if you really want to.
Exactly.
I've seen you. So here we've got some fun questions. What's your favorite course you've ever played?
Well, I feel like I have to say Stonewall, right?
It should be up there at least.
Yeah. So Stonewall, Saginaw Country Club, also because we went to Michigan and there. Here, Midland Country Club and Curry are also favorites, sentimental. A couple awesome courses I've played are the Pete Dye course at French Lick. One of the hardest courses I've ever played, and Big Ten's there, but really awesome. And it really hurt walk. My dad can attest to how hard of a walk that is. But probably the other favorite is Entrada at Snow Canyon. So it's out in St. George, Utah, a couple hours north of Las Vegas. Among the red rocks, there's a few holes that are just among the lava rock. And when I say there's fairway and then there's rocks.
That's pretty unforgiving, I would imagine.
Yeah, so you better hit the fairway. It's a little stressful when the wind was blowing, but absolutely gorgeous out there.
And what's a course you haven't played yet, but is something you'd like to play?
Augusta National, Pebble Beach, the old course. So I have a lot of fun with this.
Expect you're gonna get there soon too.
Fingers crossed.
So, okay, so what's in the bag? What is your favorite club?
54 degree. Much.
Okay.
I like working on the short game. I like putting a lot too. The 54 degree has on average been a little tighter to me than the putter.
That's great. What's your favorite hole at Midland Country Club?
I like 12 a lot. It's the risk reward, you have to put it in play, but you can make birdie if you hit a good putt shot. You have to step up and hit a good putt shot, especially with the green, the pins on the front portion, because given how the green runs and falls off on both sides, it's not like it's an easy birdie. So you have to step up and hit a good putt shot.
What's the craziest weather you played in?
Oh, that would probably be spring break 2013, I think. Yeah, so I was in college at Wisconsin. We were playing in a tournament in just outside of Charleston on Riders Creek. And the wind was howling 30, 40 miles per hour. It's a 36-18 tournament. So you play 36 holes the first day, 18 the second day. And I think the first day, because the wind was howling so bad, we had to do like 28 holes. It was slow, it was brutal. People were consistent. There were a lot of scores in the 80s and low 90s, and it's like, these are all college players. We know how to play golf here. So that was probably the worst. And this is spring break too. So, I'm thinking sun, warm, shorts, this is already here every single day.
And what advice do you have for us playing in inclement conditions?
It's tough for everybody. A lot of people are just going to quit. They're like, I'm going to stink at the beginning of the round. But, you just try and keep plugging away and hit as many good shots as you can. And just really just stay in it. Don't let the conditions bug you as much. You're going to hit some goofy shots. Some shots may not go your way, but, just go for it is.
Thank you for that advice. And so what would you say your best season has been?
Success-wise, probably this year. It's hard to top a USGA championship.
There's always next year, though. You might be
True. So there's that. Made the cut in an LPGA event. So I would have to say this past year.
Stroke play or match play?
Match play.
Ooh.
I make a couple dumb shots here and there that annoy me, but match play, you can get it back on the next hole and just play enough steady golf to get away with it.
So when you're getting ready for the U.S. Open, how are you going to prepare? You probably already have that mapped out with Kyle.
Well, you will have it mapped out. Not mapped out
You
yet.
still have time.
So yes, we have time. To be determined, we'll probably have to go make a couple trips to warmer weather this winter. Be a little sharper when the weather turns here. So just ready to go. But probably a lot of the similar things, honing on the short game, and chase a little bit more distance this winter for sure. Because the U.S. Open's going to be in Pennsylvania,
And Pennsylvania's been good for you.
it has been. It's going to be late May. So I think the weather will probably look a bit more like here. It could be iffy, could be wet, and if it's wet, there's no roll, so it's going to play even longer. So any yard you can have, any distance you can have will be an advantage.
Well, you're going to have lots of people, and a lot of them are in the room who will be cheering for you on May 30th through June 2nd of 2024.
It's very exciting for me.
So now we'd like to shift over to question and answer from the audience, and we have some mics set up over here. And so if you please come up to the mic, or I think maybe Todd's going to turn that on.
Please come on up if anyone has a question. We appreciate you just, if there's a few of you, you can wait in line for the next person, please. I got that.
Kim, I've followed you now for, I don't know, probably 5 years or so, probably taken 1,000 pictures of you. And you've heard this comment from me many, many times. Why aren't you going and trying out, on the tour? And you've given me a response to that. But I guess to take that the next step further is, since you're going to be playing in the U.S. Open next year, who would you like to be paired with? Like somebody like Rose Zhang or, Lily Fu, or who's your, idol on the tour right now? Who would you like to be paired with to go head to head with?
All of them. That would be the easy answer. So absolutely, like Nelly Corda, Rose Zhang, Lilia Vu, all of them. Love to play with them for sure. So they would be in my top three. And we'll have an opportunity to play a few practice rounds and hopefully get on the tee sheet in the same grouping with them. But to your first question, I explored it, thought about it, had the chance to play in 2 LPGA events at this point, and every week is a different course, and all you're doing is you're on the golf course, 8 to 5, even longer. And realized even towards the end of college, like golf is a hobby for me. I love it, love competing, love the competition, beating everybody, but I don't want to make it a job. Didn't want to make every putt I made to determine how many thousands of dollars I made. And we made the cut at the LPGA, at the TLBI that week. And you make we would have made a few $1,000s if we were pro, but it's a little bit more than on a weekly average what I would make at work, but you have to make the cut to do that, and you're putting in a lot of hours to do that. So had a passions elsewhere, really loved science, really loved outreach, so realized it was it for me.
Well, having been involved in Dow's first corporate ad program back in '86 in watching the Race to the Globe last night, lo and behold, she comes up with a commercial from Dow, and I compliment you on the job you did. Hopefully you're getting some residuals from that.
Not yet, so hopefully maybe at the end of the year. Thanks, Bob.
Other questions? How about some questions from our high schoolers or college golfers?
Here we are. We've got a young man coming up.
First of all, congrats on the win. I just like to know mentally, obviously U.S. fan is a huge event. How do you mentally stay in to close out a win like that? What are the strategies you use? How do you not get carried away in the moment?
Yeah, it's hard. It's not easy for sure. And in those high pressure situations, I found even at the end of the Michigan Am this past year, just kind of had to bear down and just focus on the shot as much as possible. They're close matches, any shot can go any which way, so I was really just focusing on each shot as much as possible. But in between each shot, it would require a lot of mental energy just to stay focused on that. To just check out and enjoy, the surroundings you're in, and have a lot of gratitude that, you're gonna be in this position, and just embrace it and have a lot of fun with it. I know it's hard for sure since I've been in there, and through college I probably lived and died by every single shot, because part of it, your spot in the lineup rides on it as well, for sure. But just having as much gratitude and just letting the game come to you as much as you can, is probably the best way to approach it.
All right. Thank you.
Shelly had a question.
Hi. Is there anything that you're thinking about during those times when you're struggling, just like seasons when you're not hitting it as good, that gets you through those moments?
Yeah, so get frustrated for sure, and a little bit of just knowing you need a little bit of time to just work on it. And so just staying patient with yourself, because you've hit a lot of good shots, and it'll come around, and just really staying patient with it, and having the confidence and then just the belief that, it will come around, and just don't get too frustrated by it. Golf is a sport you play. It's not something that defines you, and just recognizing that it's not everything at the end of the world. You hit a shot or you miss a tournament, for example.
Yeah, do you think that because golf is a hobby for you, that it makes it a little bit more exciting and those downtimes don't stress you out as much as maybe?
I think there's a little bit. It still stresses me out because I still want to play well, and every time I step out of the course, I want to beat whoever I'm playing with. I'm competitive. This is why I'm still playing in tournaments. So, through those down times, it gives me a little bit more motivation because I know what I can't do and what you can do afterwards to just keep working at it.
Thank you.
I can repeat your question.
You don't need to. Kim, you had talked about after leaving Wisconsin, you were a little bit done with golf. What was the one thing that made you decide? I know you went and got your master's and doctorate. What was the one thing that made you decide you wanted to go back out, put the work in, and become competitive again. And by the way, you've done a great job doing that, so.
I'm going to repeat that for the people joining us by live streaming. So the question stemmed from the comment you made about after you left Wisconsin, you were a little bit done with golf. And then what was the one thing that really made you want to get your game competitive again?
The short answer, I like winning.
Pretty good at it too.
So I defended my thesis in the end of May 2020. And I had all the plans before I started work to travel, go to Europe, go to China, go to Asia, but I couldn't do that because it's 2020, right? So signed up for the Michigan Mid-Am, a little bit out of luck, and won. Had zero expectations, so didn't know what to expect in my first like high-level tournament in years. And so I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Let's play the Michigan Am this year. It was one of those tournaments I had on the bucket list when I finished college, through college to win. So let's go give this a chance. And got to the semifinals. Got to the semifinals that year. Really close to winning this. So that was a little bit of an incentive to keep going. And, I've gotten better each year. If I felt like it was stalling or, didn't enjoy it as much, probably would have stopped it.
Hi, Crystal. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. It's really unique as college golfers to get to come out here and talk to somebody who's played at this caliber. So as a college golfer now, I look back at my career and I feel like I can think of a certain shot that was my favorite. Like I hit that shot and I don't think my dad's ever been so proud of me in my life. So I was wondering if you had a shot like that where maybe it was super creative or it was like to win a tournament. Is there a certain shot that you remember?
So one that actually stands out right now is in the semifinals at the Michigan Am this year. I'm one down going into 18, and I have to, my opponent, Olivia, she was playing great golf, and, figured I needed to make birdie. And I had this 10-footer, maybe 10, 12-footer, left or right breaking putt at Spring Lake. Made that putt to force extra holes. And so that one is one that stands out for the season. But ultimately did lose in the 19th hole, but still that putt, that was a lot of confidence in a high pressure situation, just to execute a shot and hit a putt to keep this match going. For sure.
Definitely, I'm sure those memories will stay with you. So thank you.
So you mentioned playoffs. Any advice for people, for high school and college golfers on being successful in a playoff?
Only I've played in a couple of playoffs, not in stroke play, a couple where it's gone to extra holes in match play, and, the adrenaline's going, my head's buzzing, and it's just relying on your routine, and that takes you back and recenters you almost, and just relying on that to hit any shot. And, at the end of the day, it's just a golf shot, so just go out, do your best, and the cards are like they do.
What do we have over here? Some framed flags.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of people have supported me throughout the years. A lot of the success doesn't come without the support of a few golf clubs. So have a few framed flags. One for Midland Country Club for all of the support in the last few years. One for the Fortress and Kyle. We've done a lot of great things in the last 3 years, so I'm excited for what the next years are, what's to come. And then one for Curry, the golf course, the public golf course here. We're, learn the game out there and spent a lot of time out there growing up and through college. So have one for each of them to put on display.
Well, that is a wonderful note of gratitude because we would echo the gratitude for you sharing your story, inspiring us, Kim, and we're just less than a week away from Thanksgiving, and it just seems like a very appropriate way to wrap up. I'd also like to recognize the president of Midland Country Club, Amy Wilson. She and I wanted to have this kind of a chat with you after you played in your first Great Lakes Bay Invitational. But I think it's good that we waited because we've had even more, maybe we should have waited until after you played in the US Open. We might have another trophy. But I know she is joining us in spirit, and I think via online streaming as well. And once again, a big thank you to the Country Club, Todd Beals, and Kim. Thank you, and best wishes for continued success.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you.
No, it's like, this was really detailed, yeah.